The ripple effects of a rowdy silly season meant that the NASCAR Truck Series in 2023, it was wide open. While there were many drivers and teams that fell off like the St. Louis Cardinals and didn't even make the playoffs, the following 10 drivers and teams saw this as the opportunity to stake their claim as a championship contender or potentially a favorite to take home the hardware in 7 races time. NRF Productions presents the Spotter's Guide predicting the 2023 NASCAR Truck Series playoffs. The Tricon Garage this season has been hit or miss.
I guess they never miss, huh?
While there are many drivers on this team that tore up so much equipment that they are a net negative in terms of the profits this year, they hit the jackpot with Corey Heim. And this season with the 11 team, he hasn't skipped a beat. What stunned me the most is just how consistent Corey Heim is. Keep in mind, this is his first full-time season in trucks. Just looking at his starts this season, he has 1 finish outside the top 15. And the last time he finished worse than 8th in a race he started was all the way back at the Bristol Dirt Race. Corey Heim has been incredible this season, and keep this in mind, he won the regular season championship while missing a race at Gateway due to having COVID. This kid is incredible, and unless he melts under the pressure in these playoffs, this is a guy that you should have penciled into your championship for. The thing about championship defense seasons is that they're usually a regression. Whether it's the fact that you put all your resources, all your attention into the season before, or as a driver you get complacent and let off the gas. For Zane Smith, I don't know what it is, but you can tell the 38 Chris Lawson and Front Row Motorsports, they've been a bit off. Even then, while Zane Smith has directed his attention more to the Cup side of things, running a partial schedule, Smith has still won 2 races and finds himself seated 2nd, entering his championship defense playoffs. The only thing I'm worried about is the fact that Zane Smith's future is uncertain. He's going to have the silly season pressure. Then again, he proved at Phoenix last year that when the pressure's on the line, Zane Smith can thrive. And so because of that, I don't really doubt that Smith is going to make the most out of these playoffs. The prospect that was guided under the wing of former Truck Series champion Johnny Benson Jr., Carson Hocevar, has finally proved that he is built different. It took some time, and there was probably a lot of self-doubt and self-worry because Carson Hocevar just couldn't get the job done. His entire season last year was basically a sad compilation, but this year, that coaching from the fellow Michigan Truck Series champion has proven well because Carson Hocevar won Texas, won Nashville, and won Richmond now to find himself the seed. I know, the cool thing is to shit on the NASCAR Truck Series, but Carson Hocevar is a positive from this series. He has matured a lot, and now he has the opportunity to really make a deep run in these playoffs and prove that he is fit to go to the NASCAR Cup Series, potentially at Spire Motorsports next year. Like Carson Hocevar, Christian Eckes was a driver that had flashes of potential. You saw him do well at Thorsport, but he just couldn't break through to become a multi-time winner and a championship contender. A change of scenery has been helpful for not only Christian Eckes, but ironically the team he now drives for, Bill McNally Racing. This was an organization that was like the Ganassi 42 in the Cup Series from 2004 to 2006. All it took was a win at Atlanta to get past the hump, and then a statement Darlington victory to show Christian Eckes and this 19 team, they are going to be contenders in this postseason. You can see that in the stats because while when you win a race, now you have an excuse to let off the gas. Since his Darlington win, only 2 times Christian Eckes has finished outside the top 15. Consistency goes a long way. That is something that Christian Eckes has shown is his strength in this regular season. Let's see if he can do it in the playoffs. Grant Enfinger is living proof if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Thorsport Racing really fucked him up by moving him to part-time and getting rid of Jeff Hensley. Now with a watered-down GMS Racing, Enfinger has really taken the lead at this organization. He won at Kansas and he won at Gateway, the Midwest 1-2 punch. Brent Enfinger is slowly becoming a stable veteran, but then again, at the same time, he is also establishing himself as a driver that comes up short in the playoffs, potentially the Denny Hamlin of the NASCAR Truck Series every time he competes, but doesn't make it to the championship and win it. Those are the demons that Grant Enfinger has to tame in these playoffs. Majeski has been the greatest Truck Series regular to come out of Wisconsin since the 1997 runner-up Rich Bickle. While he doesn't have a win in the regular season, Majeski is looking at these playoffs as his way to step it up. And keep in mind, Majeski is entering the playoffs the same way he did last year. No wins and a lot of shortcomings. But what happened when the lights came on? Majeski came to race. He won Bristol to lock himself into Phoenix, giving him an entire month and a half to preparize for the championship race. You guys should all know damn well that despite not having the results in the regular season, Majeski is going to be a guy that's going to be a major threat for this title. The one word to describe Ben Rhodes and his 2023 season so far has been adversity. Look, it's no secret that ThorSport does not have the best interest to Ben Rhodes. We saw it in the offseason when Ben Rhodes and Rich Lucius were split up to favor Hailie Deegan. Like I said, this was as if ThorSport 5-6 years ago split up Matt Crafton and Junior Joyner to favor Cody Coughlin. Speaking of Matt Crafton, he got Jerryod Prince, who was Ben Rhodes' crew chief for the first half of the season. And to make things worse, they did this not even a week after Ben Rhodes won at Charlotte with Jerryod Prince. If Ben Rhodes doesn't want to return to ThorSport, I don't know if you can blame him. However, I want to look at this from a perspective of all of this adversity coming on to Ben Rhodes, and yet through all of this, Ben Rhodes has been able to persevere. He has still been a contender week in and week out despite who is talking through his helmet. That right there is what makes the 2021 Truck Series champion dangerous in his quest to win 2 titles in 3 years. When it comes to rookie drivers, I'm going to reiterate a Forrest Gump cliche, but they're like a box of chocolates because you never know what you're going to get until in a NASCAR rookie case you've seen a sample size of what they can do in competitive equipment. That's why I didn't have Nick Sanchez making the playoffs, but we've seen him this year. He has been able to perform with the Rev Racing number 2 team, which is the KBM number 18 entry from last year. Now that Nick Sanchez has clinched the Rookie of the Year honors, these playoffs are all about learning because nobody expects Nick Sanchez to become a champion this year. What he is expected to do is to learn, mature for the 2024 season, and learn how to overcome pressure. Although I would argue that he's already done a good job under pressure. I mean, did you see all the backlash he got from Hailie Deegan fans after he dumped her at Gateway? If you want to be honest, Matt DiBenedetto hasn't necessarily been a contender. You haven't seen him lead a lot of laps and win races. So why the fuck did he even get into this position? Because you have Tanner Gray, Stuart Friesen, Hailie Deegan that have way better equipment-wise than Matty D with his Rackley War Chevrolet Silverado. This is where I say talent can sometimes compensate for the equipment because we've seen Matt DiBenedetto do really well just putting together solid races. He and his crew chief have also done a fantastic job on strategy, making sure they get stage points enough to get themselves into the position they are now. Matty D and Rackley War have passed their first test, and really the rest of this season they have nothing to lose. Besides myself, as I actually predicted him to make the playoffs, nobody expected him to make it this far. They expected him to be 14th in points and not even be close. But here they are, and so I think with that, Rackley War should really use this as some ammo to take some risks in these playoffs, try to win a race, and become a Cinderella upset in this 2023 Truck Series season. Okay, did anyone out here actually have Matt Crafton missing the playoffs? And if so, I'd like to know your reasoning. Because you might say, well, he wasn't who he once was. Well, he's starting to age. He's beginning to have his decline as a driver. And I say, fuck that. no matter the situation, no matter if they're down and out, Matt Crafton and the 88 team, they always find a way to squeak into the playoffs.
They do this every year.
Matt Crafton again has the chance to tie Ron Hornaday Jr. for the most titles in NASCAR Truck Series history. Can he do it though? As a lot of people are going to say no, and right now it doesn't look like so. However, I will say he has a better chance than last year because despite all the crew chief changes, Matt Crafton did a really good job at Richmond. He had a contending truck in that race. And that was something that did Crafton in the round of 10 last year. He didn't have a good short track truck. While he doesn't have the points, Matt Crafton has something that a lot of these drivers don't have, and that is years of experience. I know I've probably said this in the other 4 truck playoff videos, but it's something that's going to come in handy, especially when we get down and dirty as we head to Phoenix. So as we look at the NASCAR Truck Series playoff schedule, the only change is the removal of Richmond, or its movement into the regular season, and the addition of the Milwaukee Mile. NASCAR was like, we fucked up Wisconsin NASCAR fans so much by getting rid of Road America for the Cup Series, so we've got to make it up in some way. Besides that, the schedule is the same for the 10 drivers, 10 teams looking to win the rowdiest Truck Series championship, arguably in series history. So when it comes to the round of 10, you've got IRP, Milwaukee, Kansas. Who are the drivers that I see struggling in those 3 races? I would have to say Matt DiBenedetto and Nick Sanchez. Both are great stories this season. However, they're not really built to be championship contenders. They've been surprises. I think that's going to end here in the round of 10, or maybe they end up winning a race later down the road, but in terms of the round of 10, they are going to be out. And as for the round of 8, Bristol, Talladega, Homestead, anything can happen. However, I've got some surprise contenders being out in this round. Christian Eckes, Grant Enfinger, Matt Crafton, and Zane Smith. All of these drivers are going to get eliminated in the round of 8. Zane Smith is the surprise because he's made it to the championship for the last 3 years. However, I think this season, Front Row and the 38 team, they haven't been as strong as I thought they would be. So therefore, I think the luck runs out in the round of 8. And so your championship 4 is going to be Corey Heim, Carson Hocevar, Ty Majeski, and Ben Rhodes. This is the perfect mixture of drivers that have risen in this Truck Series season and drivers that have a reputation of rising when the stakes are high. And that is why I see this being your championship 4 for the 2023 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. So if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to check out the other full tank NASCAR content on NRF Productions. And by the way, I've got a new channel, Fuel Cell Full. The first video was posted on that channel, so be sure to check that out. Other than that, this is Nathan for Digital Gashouse. Life's a beach, and then you drive.